is Dr. Robert Bohannon, and welcome. I want to talk to you about how to revitalize America, a couple of the steps. My background is I'm a problem solver, I'm a molecular virologist, an engineer, a genetic engineer, and for many years I've created hundreds of products, many that you buy over the counter. As part of my training, I ended up learning how to look at problems, look at solutions, and then optimize and take a look at how to implement those. So I'm a scientist, I'm an innovator, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I got my PhD from Baylor College of Medicine. I did my bachelor's from University of Colorado at Boulder, but I'm a pragmatist with over 40 years experience in solving problems. I want to talk to you about a couple of problems that I see happening in America and what we can do to fix them. One of the first things that we note is we've had high unemployment. A lot of that's due to the restriction of capital available for small businesses. Businesses thrive on having capital available, cheap, inexpensive capital that they can invest, that they could expand, that they can create new businesses and start new businesses. So we have a very lethargic and sluggish American economy right now with tens of millions of people that have left the workforce and also millions now that are picking up part-time jobs. Banks are still not loaning money despite this economic upturn that we allegedly have, and incomes have dropped. So some of the solutions I want to talk to you about is how to grow the economy, the U.S. economy. We need to create millions of new high-paying jobs. We need to make hundreds of billions of dollars available in capital to fund small business innovation, spur economic growth, and allow companies to expand, buy equipment, and hire. And there's a way that we can do that. One way that can be done is that Congress can authorize the issuance of up to $2 trillion in U.S. enterprise bonds. Now, these U.S. enterprise bonds tap into the private capital that's available. There's about $3.5 trillion sitting on the sidelines. Companies like Apple, they've got almost $200 billion just sitting there. Offshore. They get taxed bringing it onshore. So what this program would be is to create or have Congress authorize up to $2 trillion in U.S. enterprise bonds. These are 10, 15, 20-year bonds. They pay 2, 3, 4% tax-free interest. They can be transferred tax-free, and they can have their face value adjusted for inflation about every 5 years up to some sort of a cap. That attracts capital back into the United States. Because they're tax-free, they can be purchased by these companies. That repatriates these trillions of dollars sitting on the sideline. But it also locks them in place for 10, 15, 20 years as enterprise bonds. The funds from these bonds can only be used to loan to small businesses through SBA banks, and financial institutions. The agencies that could issue the bonds I'm proposing would be the Fed, state, and local municipalities, and allow them to compete for the capital available. Funds raised would be loaned out for 3 to 5 years at 6 to 8% interest to small businesses, just like an SBA loan, and they could follow SBA loan guidelines. But this makes capital available, and it allows small communities like Elkhart, Indiana, to issue maybe a couple $100 million to even $1 billion worth of these bonds to attract capital, to attract businesses to grow and expand and relocate. This takes the money off the sideline and injects it into the U.S. economy. If you think about it, for small businesses will create one permanent job for about every $100,000 of capital invested, on the average. Some markets take a little bit more capital or more capital intensive and others are not. But typically speaking, one job is created for every $100,000 of capital invested. Interestingly, these are permanent jobs, unlike government jobs. Permanent jobs mean that these jobs have to have value. They have to create income for small businesses. Otherwise, the jobs go away. So these become permanent jobs. Now, these loans, which can be loaned out 6 to 8% interest for 3 to 5 years, when they're repaid, those funds can be loaned out again and again and again until those bonds mature in 10, 15, 20 years. What that means is if you have, let's say we authorize $2 trillion in bonds, and if it's $100,000 per job, that creates 20 million new jobs in a very short order. These are private sector jobs, permanent jobs. And when those funds are repaid, those monies are loaned out again, and again, tens of millions of jobs are created all over again. In addition, as funds transfer, as the monies are spent and invested, the government, federal, state, and local agencies collect taxes. And so that really increases the tax rolls. It also reduces unemployment. It reduces welfare. So all of a sudden you've got this income coming in of trillions of dollars every year, and then you've got the outgo of going down, not having unemployment, less welfare, etc. And then your budgets balance much more easily. Now these funds are coming from private sector. These are not government funds. They could be, but attracting money from the private sector reduces the risk to taxpayers as well. Imagine the consequences of millions of new companies starting and expanding. An increase in tax rolls at the federal, state, and local levels, lower unemployment, lower welfare, higher wages due to the competition of tens of millions of new jobs. Imagine what a vibrant enterprise system would look like, supercharged. This is a different paradigm than what we've ever looked at before. We're looking at creating hundreds or even thousands of new Microsofts, new Apples, new Teslas, new billion-dollar companies by providing them the capital that they need to grow and expand. How can we do this? How can we start? Fairly simple. We can write our congressmen, our state representatives, the president, some of the candidates. I would like to hear their take on this as well, the presidential candidates, and ask them, would they support authorizing the issuance of U.S. enterprise bonds, that's what I'm terming them, and then allowing those funds to be used only for loaning to small businesses. To do that, write your senators and congressmen. You can visit my website, www.usenterprisebonds.com, or you can write to me direct at Dr. Bob, D-R-B-O-B, at americanomics.info. Thank you.